thank you to RDLA and to Congressman Lance and Crowley and Senators Hatch and Klobuchar, who were all truly champions of rare disease patients. So just a quick note about who we are at the National Health Council. You see a quick snapshot of some of our members on here. We are an umbrella organization, primarily of patient advocacy organizations, ranging from groups such as American Cancer Society, Heart Association, Diabetes Association, down to a lot of very rare disease organizations as well. Other members that we have in membership include provider organizations, pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies, really the entire spectrum of the healthcare community. We work on systemic health issues, and our mission is to provide a united voice for people with chronic diseases and disabilities and their family caregivers. So I know I'm here to talk about PDUFA, but you can't give me a microphone in front of congressional staff without putting in a pitch for 21st Century Cures. We need to get this thing done in the lame duck and really clear the decks moving forward into next year so that we can put more of a focus on PDUFA. For any of the patient advocacy organizations that are in the room, we are circulating a sign-on letter to support moving cures in the lame duck. We're currently up over 200 organizations, and we're looking to send this to the Hill tomorrow. So come find me after the briefing if your organization would be interested.
What's your email address?
It's egascho@nhcouncil.org. So certainly feel free to reach out. The more organizations, the merrier. So on PDUFA, our overall view is that this program is incredibly needed. It has been a huge success over the history of the program. It has really done what it's intended to do, which is get new treatments to patients faster. But what's been really exciting over the last few authorizations of it is that we've not only been focused on provisions that are going to move products faster, but we're focused on moving products that are going to be better and more meaningful for patients. So a couple of provisions that I'm going to talk about focus on some of these enhancements that we've seen in the last PDUFA and now moving into PDUFA 6. So the first one is on patient engagement. This is something that we've really been focused on at the National Health Council, and many of our members have been as well. And that's really looking to ensure that the products that are being developed really meet the patients and are intended to treat the outcomes that matter most to them. It also means that FDA has more information when deciding whether or not to approve a product, knowing how patients might view the trade-off between benefits and risks of the product that they're reviewing. So under PDUFA 5, what we saw is a program called the patient-focused patient-focused drug development. It was a series of, it'll be 24 disease-specific meetings to learn from patients what it's like to live with their condition, what their views are on existing treatments where applicable, and really learn a lot about how these things are impacting people's daily lives. What's been exciting about these meetings, not only are we learning very specific things about the conditions that they're covering, we're also learning how to interact with patients and how to really learn from them and realize that there's a very valuable input that can be received. So what we've been saying moving into PDUFA 6, and we're really excited to see this is included in the agreement, is let's take this from a series of meetings and make it something that's an integral part of what FDA does and an integral part of what the pharmaceutical sector does as well. So what has been proposed in PDUFA 6 is a series of guidances that look at what type of information should industry sponsors be seeking, and also patient organizations can be doing this work as well and submitting this to FDA to figure out sort of what are the best ways to engage with patients. And over the course of the 5 years, what's been proposed is a series of 5 different guidances. The first one is due at the end of FY 2018, looking at the burden of the disease. The following year, we'll do one on a holistic set of impacts. After that, will be measures for the identified impacts, and then looking at clinical outcomes assessment. So we think that by FDA giving more guidance and more clarity to industry, this is really going to move the world of patient engagement further a lot more than what we've seen in the past, and we're really excited about that. The other thing that I will be talking about is real-world evidence. So this is something that was covered under 21st Century Cures, and I know had a lot of attention around it. And what we're looking at here is really supplementing existing clinical trial processes with additional information. One thing, just to kind of put this from the patient perspective, when you look at the way the clinical trials are designed, they're often looking for the quote-unquote perfect patient in a very controlled setting of a clinical trial. But what you might often see is that what that means is we're not getting a true picture of what the product might look like in practice. So looking to supplement the information that we're already receiving from clinical trials with existing data sources. So things such as electronic health records from some of the post-market surveillance initiatives that are out there. And bringing other information, you'll see the cartoon here, which really kind of shows what might happen, not quite to that extent, but certainly we want to bring in as much information as possible. We've had conversations with people with chronic conditions, sort of from an anecdotal level, where I think a lot of them think that this information is already being used, but in a lot of cases, industry is limited from being able to do it, and FDA is limited from being able to use that information for their reviews. And so one thing that we were pushing for coming into this PDUFA negotiation was really finding a way to build out the science. And so what you see included in the agreement are some, I think, small but meaningful steps to really move the science forward, similar to what we saw with patient engagement in PDUFA 5, where the FDA will hold a public meeting to discuss the topic. They will look to potentially fund some pilot studies of the use of real-world evidence, and potentially by the end of PDUFA 6, we'll put out guidance on the issue as well. So we're really excited to see that there's been a lot of focus and attention on this, and we'll certainly look forward to working with FDA to move it forward. One last slide, I won't get into all of these. These are some of the other provisions that we are supportive of, included in the agreement. The one that I do want to draw some attention to is the issues around FDA hiring and retention. All of the great things that we've been hearing about what PDUFA has done and will be doing new in the next PDUFA really mean little if FDA doesn't have the staff to implement them. It's really important. There are provisions included in the agreement, largely focused around their human resources capacity. But one thing, since this is a congressional audience, they do need some new authorities. There needs to be some ability for them to hire staff faster, and in many cases, pay them more. They're in a very unique situation that a lot of other agencies aren't, where they have a very direct competitor of hiring staff, and that is the industry. And so creating ways for them to be able to hire people faster to make sure that they have the scientific expertise that's needed to really look at some of these new 21st century technologies is going to be hugely important. That's something that we look forward to coming back to Congress with more and making sure that this is something that might be included as part of the